Ladies, my fellow mommies, we are always so busy, on the go, kids screaming in the back seat, sleeping babies. I have the ultimate hack for you.
Welcome to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast with Krista and Tracy, your go-to girls for health, fitness, and keeping it real in mom life.
If you can't seem to get in a good groove with your nutrition and exercise program, this is for you.
We've coached thousands of women using macros for over 8 years, and I'm well known around here for my 5-day meal prep videos.
What does a macro balanced meal look like?
Hit subscribe to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast and join us for a fun, meaningful journey toward a healthier, happier you.
You got this, Mom.
Welcome back to another episode of the Stay Fit Mom Podcast. And today I'm so excited to introduce you all to one of my dearest friends in the whole world, and that's Coach Leanne. I know some of you will know her because she's been your coach, but today we get just a closer look into who she is, and we're going to talk about so many things. The theme of this season 2 podcast is fresh starts, new beginnings, and joy in the journey. And specifically on this episode, we're going to cover having a beginner's mindset. What if this is just the beginning? Welcome to the show, Leanne.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. What an honor.
You're so sweet. She always says that every time you talk about coaching. I feel like you always say that. It's just a privilege. It's an honor.
It really is. It is an honor and a privilege.
So Leanne and I have been friends for how many years, Leanne?
Since 2011, we met right after my family moved to Las Vegas from North Carolina. Tracy was one of my very first friends with little baby Siege.
There's just something to be said about making friends when you're in that stage of life with little ones. Left such an imprint on my brain for sure.
Yep. Yeah, my kids were 2 and 4 when we met. They had just turned 2 and 4, and now they are 16 and 18. So
It's
that's
so
crazy.
It's so crazy. So picture this. Leanne is kind of this mentor to me in so many ways, so many ways. But one of the ways that she's a mentor to me is in parenting. She would pass down her clothes. Our kids would all wear, we still to this day have some of
love it.
Alex's clothes. And I would watch her kids walk through things and just kind of hold my breath like, we're going to be there in a blink. And it was always true. It was always
Yep.
true. Her kids are in 5th grade going to space camp. And I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be there. We're going to be there soon. So now her oldest is getting ready to graduate high school. And I just can't believe it. I feel like we got to just start there because this is a whole new beginning. You are starting this transition. You and I both, our life goals were, let's be a mom. That's what we wanted to do. That was number one to both of us. And it's not like you're not going to be a mom, but it's such a different phase.
Yeah.
So tell us about everything.
So I call it the launching phase. I feel like that's where we are, where we're launching our kids. So our daughter just got her license. And I feel like that was a big deal because we're constantly in the car. And that was sad to me because I'm like, oh, we won't have that time together anymore. And now she's on her own driving herself. So that was a launch for her. And then now Alex, he graduates next weekend and he's going to Ohio State in the fall. We're super excited. He'll only be an hour and a half away and it's a great college and he's really happy and go Buckeyes. But yeah, it's my whole life I want to be a mom. So if I get teary-eyed, it's just hard because your kids are just firing you from your job as you go. So they're firing you from being their driver. And now my son, he'll have to cook his own meals and wash his own laundry. And I told him the other day, I was like, okay, here's the plan. I'm going to come up once a month and we're going to have breakfast and I'll buy you groceries or do whatever. And then you come home once a month. And that way we're seeing each other every couple weeks.
I love that plan.
Yeah. And then of course he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And if you'll come and buy me groceries and take me out to eat. Yeah, it's a hard transition. And my husband 100% doesn't get it because I feel like since the day they were born, he's like, okay, 18 more years and these kids are out of the house. And for me, every stage of parenting has been amazing. I mean, hard in a lot of ways, but so sweet and special. And I say all the time, Alex, I don't deserve him. He is our calmer in the house. We walk together almost every day. We watch shows together. So that feels like a heavy loss. but at the same time, it's very exciting. Nobody prepares you for the stage of being so excited and so sad all at the same time.
Oh, I just feel like when you were saying firing, I'm just getting fired from all my jobs. And Leanne, I can't tell you the amount of times that I have thought to myself recently, because we're just in the throes of it. I can't wait till I don't have to cook for 8
Yeah.
people every day, or this laundry is piling up, driving them everywhere. All of those things that you're mentioning, I feel so overwhelmed by the magnitude of it all. And to hear
Mhm.
you say, I am overwhelmed at the thought of not being those
Yeah.
things for my kids.
Yep. I've heard it many times, roots and wings. You're giving them deep roots, but you're also giving them wings to fly and go do their thing. And I raised them to be independent people, and this is what we want for them. I want him to be excited to go to college. It's great and it's sad. And so I'm okay with that.
It is just telling that you've done your job well. If they're excited and they're ready and you're sad, that means you've checked all the boxes in terms of getting them to fly.
Yep.
Because the topic is new beginnings, you've also just moved to Ohio. Well, you're coming up on 1 year in this total new place after living in Las Vegas for what, 13 years?
Yep.
Or
Oh, 13 and a half.
13 and a half years in one place. And now you are in a whole new state. Tell us about just that new beginning and what that's like. I know we have a lot of military friends that move a lot, but I don't move a lot. And we moved 4 years ago and it was a lot for us. So I would just love to hear about that new beginning in your life.
We are from North Carolina originally. So when we moved to Vegas, our kids were 1 and 3. And so that was a scarier transition just because we didn't know anybody. I was a young mom. I had my community in North Carolina. So that was really hard. But I knew when we moved there, I did a lot of research and I researched schools, I researched areas to live in and churches, and we jumped right in when we moved there. So that taught me a lot. And then, of course, our kids love living in Las Vegas because that was their whole life. This time, the move was very emotional because we had a rising sophomore and a rising senior. And Alex was at a school that was very small. Actually, Tracy's brother is a teacher there, and Krista Poole's husband was a teacher there. And it was fantastic, but they were in the same group all the way through high school. So seeing my son's heartbreak when we told him we were moving, our son was sad, our daughter was angry. So we had to deal with a lot of emotions. And I've learned that the only way to deal with it is to go straight through it. And so that's what we had to do. We just had to walk with the kids through it and understand their emotions and give them a lot of grace and give ourselves a lot of grace. So we came out here, we brought the kids with us. We wanted to be part of it. We found a house. It was a miracle. The house went on the market the day we flew in. We put it off for 2 days later and got it. It was great. In July, we packed up our whole house and drove all the way across the country. It was kind of crazy, but wonderful here. It has been an interesting transition, but our kids have flourished. And my prayer was that God, in a year, let me just look back at this and say, wow, I am so proud of these kids. And I am. Our son is happy here. And then Madison has just done amazing, just found her people, got really plugged in Young Life. And she did what we do. She found a gym, she found a church group in her school, and she found her people very quickly. And that's been wonderful for her. So I know we feel bad when we have to put our kids through hard things, but really it teaches them resilience. And I just see that. And I'm so proud of them. And I will say my daughter and my son make me feel brave because they were willing to walk into a new high school as a sophomore and a senior. They've done so many hard things that it makes me feel like I can do this too. I can do hard things too. My kids have done it and I can do it. So it's been really fun and it's beautiful here. And we've built a strong community. I found CrossFit, I found a church. Our neighbors were a huge blessing. And she's become like my best friend here. And we walk a lot. And God's blessed the whole move. It's been amazing and hard, both. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping the listeners can just see why Leanne's such a mentor in my life, because this wasn't on the script, but I tell this every time I share my testimony story of just how I came to the Lord, and that you are such a big part of that, Leanne, because you showed me what it's like to be grieved over your sin and take on Jesus's righteousness. And nobody in my life explained that to me before you. And obviously, I know a lot of it had to do with when God was opening my eyes to all of that. But you just never know who you're impacting with your
Yeah.
wisdom. And you had just such a huge impact on my eternal life, but also just how you parent. I remember you calling me and saying, Maddie is so mad, and we just let her be mad. What else are we
Yep.
going to do? I think sometimes when we go through hard things, it's just easier if emotions aren't involved.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this, let's just move on to the next thing. Let's
Yep.
distract. And we do those things sometimes, but just giving your kids permission to feel and then say, this is going to be hard, but we're going to do it together. And I love that your
Yeah.
kids have been inspirational to you. That's
Yep.
so awesome. Okay, so let's move on to some of the coaching questions, because you are one of our longest standing coaches, Leanne. I coached you. I still coach you.
Yep.
And, and then,
2016.
oh my gosh, 2016. So
Yeah,
9
that's
years.
the year y'all started. And I remember when y'all started doing macros, you and Krista, and I went out to eat with y'all to Chipotle after, and you and Krista got Chipotle and you did double chicken. I'm like, oh my Lord, these girls. And later that fall, I think I started in late summer in 2016 as a client.
Right. And so now you're one of our longest standing coaches that we have on staff, and so beloved by your clients. Leanne doesn't take on very many new clients. You did this month, which we'll have to kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
But she just keeps her, what do you want to call that? Shepherds her women
Yeah, I
that
love
she's
them.
had, and for so long. And you are just loved by your clients. What would you say your coaching style is?
I remember when I first started coaching, I remember one of the questions was, are you Jillian or Bob? And I'm totally a Bob. I am not tough. I am honest, but I give a lot of love and encouragement because we're all women and most of us are moms. And a lot of the women I enjoy coaching the most are in my stage of life or a little ahead of me. And so they've already launched their kids or they're empty nesters. And I just love them. They don't need a bunch of tough love. They need somebody who's just going to be honest with them and say, okay, let's try this. But also, my biggest thing is you have to be consistent. You can't complain unless you're being really consistent. But I try to be gentle and loving, but also honest.
And then, so that kind of brings us to our next question. So, in your opinion, what qualities do clients that see the most amount of success possess? And I'll put this in the show notes. One of our most recent client spotlights, she lost over 70 pounds. Am I getting
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
And she's yours. So, what do you think is the secret? Those women that are just crushing this for
Yeah.
the long haul, not the first 2 weeks, but they're
Right.
crushing it overall.
So right now I have a few ladies that they stall. I mean, everybody stalls a little bit, especially the clients I've had for a really long time. So Denise, who you're talking about, oh my gosh, she is amazing. But when she first started, we just focused on macros. That's what our focus was. And so just learning to eat balance, learning. So it's an education. She didn't give up. I think for me, that is who has the greatest success are those clients who don't give up, even when it's hard, even when your day's not perfect. They don't beat themselves up. They just keep moving forward. That's what I always say. Keep moving forward. Just think about where you'll be in 6 months if you just keep at it right now. Maybe you feel stalled right now, but your body is still making changes. And even though it feels like you're not changing, you really are. You're building up your metabolism, and then that's going to fire up. Denise, when she first started, we focused on nutrition. Then it stalled a little bit. So she added in exercise. And for a long time, she was like, oh, I just don't want to do it. I didn't meet my goal this week. And then all of a sudden it clicked. And she does these really cool step challenges. Her and her husband walk every day, and she does weightlifting. And then it skyrocketed again. And she will go on vacation and take days off. And I don't know if it's just her habits are so great, but she comes back and she still has lost a little weight,
Wow.
but she's still walking. So those are the habits that she's learned from macro tracking that she carries over even when she's not actually tracking. And so to me, the people who really get what it's about, that's not a fast weight loss program, that it's actually education. You're teaching yourself long-term things so that this can last for a long time. And then my longest client, I think she's been with me since 2020 without any breaks.
Wow.
And her too. At first, it was a really slow progress, but then she started being so consistent and she doesn't work out a ton. And the weight just came off and she's dropped a bunch of sizes and she's amazing too. And she said, I love how this program is so easy when I take a break to just get right back to. I don't feel any shame that I felt when I did other programs, but I feel like it's easy. I said, the only reason it's easy, because it's not easy for everyone, is because you have built this habit into your life. And so now it feels good when you get back on track because you do it all the time. And so I love those type of NSVs that are just, I'm able to get right back on track, or I came back from vacation and I still lost some weight. Those people who stick with it, they're the ones who make the big progress.
And also just a testament to how big of an impact you have on your clients. That's an incredible story. You have been with this client for 5 years.
It's very relational, which is what I love. I love relationship. And so I want to know about you. I'm also a hospice nurse. I love knowing people. And as a hospice nurse, we don't just take care of a patient. We take care of their whole family, their children, their dogs, their whatever. We take care of all of them. And I feel it's the same with this coaching. It's life, not passing on to the next, but it's taking care of the whole person, because that's what makes the biggest difference.
Just because you mentioned it, I've always felt like you were such a valuable asset to the team because of your background in nursing. You've done a lot of SOS videos, blog posts. The ones that stick out in my mind are just teaching your clients the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs.
It's better to have butt than gut, because
Yeah,
gut's where we
butt
carry
than
our
gut.
hormones. And then that's when we end up with diabetes and gallbladder issues too.
Your knowledge when it comes to overall health is so huge when you're getting to the bottom of what a client really needs, because it is so holistic.
Oh, I love that word. Yeah, holistic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. And I think one of your questions is going to be the biggest challenge for our clients.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the biggest challenge is just life. And like we said earlier, when you're in the thick of it, of running kids to practice and all the things like making sure your kids are fed, we just forget about ourselves and we neglect ourselves. And it's not fair to our bodies. And I know you did the oxygen mask, like put yours on first before. But I think that's the biggest challenge in life, is that we don't have these habits. So then we just fall back on all these old terrible habits of, oh, I'm just going to grab this to eat, or I'm just going to snack on this. And we don't realize how it adds up our calories. And then we don't exercise and we aren't taking care of our bodies. And then all of a sudden our kids are gone and we're a hot mess. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is just learning to take care of yourself before you're taking care of everybody else. And of course, that's way easier said than done. And
Mhm.
especially if you haven't learned those habits. I try to tell my kids now, how you treat your body now matters. And learning these habits while you live at home with me are important, because Alex, you're going to college next year and you better eat vegetables at lunch and dinner and have 3 meals a day that are balanced.
Right. So that kind of brings us to the next question, which is, how has your season of life impacted your own nutrition? One of the things that I love about you, Leanne, is that you are so humble. You are so coachable. You are so reflective on your week. You really put effort into your tracker and your feedback, and it makes my job as a coach so much easier, because you've always had this beginner's mindset and you respond so well to feedback. You've mentioned the word habits a lot, which I love, and you've recently switched over to our new habits-based program. So just kind of tell us about that, your own season of life, how it's impacted your own nutrition, and then how the switch has been going.
Yeah. So I will say, in my season of life, I'm 42. I've had a counselor since 2016. We meet usually every 4 to 6 weeks. And one thing she said is, Leanne, from 10 to 20, that's when girls start, their hormones change. And it takes 10 years for hormones to settle. Then from 40 to 50, it's backwards. Your hormones are changing. And she said, these are the 10 years you need to take the best care of yourself. My fitness journey started when Maddie was 1, and I was like, I'm just going to start walking. And I did. I'd get up every morning and I'd walk, and I'd track all my food, and I lost a good amount of weight, and I got in some good habits. But then I would say we had some family things happen, and I just got some really bad habits where I'm like, I can just fit this into my macros, no big deal. And I could tell I was not eating high nutrient foods. I was just fitting those things in, and I didn't feel great. And I knew I wasn't doing what my counselor told me to do. So for me, starting the habit program just has forced me to really pay attention to what I'm eating. If somebody's telling me what to do, and I have that accountability through check-in with Tracy, and even just putting it in my tracker every night really helps me to be accountable. And I can look at all my meals. Am I eating vegetables? Am I really doing that? Because sometimes I just think I am, but I'm actually not. And so some ways that's already changed me. And I just told Tracy, I feel like it's actually really good for my soul. Just deep goodness. Everybody's habits, and this is a balanced meal at every plate. So one thing I've done is even breakfast. So I make my kids lunch while I do breakfast at the same time. But when I make their lunches, I always put carrots and cucumbers and sweet peppers in their lunches. So I just pull some of those out and have them with my breakfast. That way I'm getting right from the beginning. I'm already got some vegetables in. And then lunch, thankfully at my job, they have a little salad bar. So I just have at least a big salad, and I always pick the protein. They always have a good protein to choose from. And then dinner, we do a lot of Stay Fit Mom dinners, and they're always well balanced and great and easy, and my whole family loves them. But there are some places where now I notice, I snack a lot. I don't give my body time to rest because I'm a hungry girl. I'll be honest. I am hungry. I can't even understand clients that come to us and be like, I'm never hungry, because I am hungry. So yeah, I have to pay more attention to my snacks. And I noticed some other habits I had was I wanted something sweet after, and we always have chocolate in our house. I do teach my kids balance, but I like chocolate. And I don't ever want to tell them that any food is off limits totally, but that you have one dessert a day. And so I made that rule for myself, one candy a day or one whatever. And then another thing is 30 minutes of exercise. And for me, that was, I have to do CrossFit. And if I don't do CrossFit, I'm not doing anything. That's not my thing anymore. I like CrossFit. And if I can get there 3 to 4 days a week, I'm really happy with that. But walks are so good. And our house is right next to a park. My neighbor likes to walk. My son likes to walk, and my dog needs to walk. So we just walk every day. I walk, and it's been so good for me to be out in nature. And so I feel like those are some things that the habits have already changed in my life.
I love that. One of the things that I'm hearing you say, and this could be just a struggle that you and I both kind of face, or a lot of clients in general, macro counting can be all or nothing. And we don't want it to be that way. We want it to have its ebbs and flows, but there can be something in you that says, oh, well, I didn't hit my macros again today. Okay, well, then I might as well not do it. Or you get into a busy phase of life where you are moving across the country, you are launching kids, or traveling, whatever. And so again, the purpose of the program is to give women that control of just because you can't do the macro Tetris while you're on vacation or while you're in a crazy phase of life doesn't mean you're out and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And so the habits-based program has been able to give women the freedom to not track. But I love too the reflection that you just shared in that, wow, when I was counting macros, your breakfast before probably didn't include peppers and carrots and cucumbers and just little things. So
Yeah, it's great.
So who do you think will benefit more from the new habit-based program?
Everyone could, honestly. I think even if you've been doing macros a long time. So my husband, he travels a ton, which he never did before. And it's been a struggle for him. I think just people who travel, people who've done macros a long time are just kind of burned out on it, or they just need a little revamp of what are my habits like? Let me really look at this. I think it's great for anybody.
So we have a list of 13 different habits that you can choose from. Leanne, do you want to share some of the habits that you're specifically working on? I know you said 30 minutes of exercise.
Yeah.
What are some of your other ones?
Yeah, so my other one is sleep. So sleep is a big one. When my husband's out of town, I don't know what is wrong with me, but he's like, "Okay, we're going to bed." So I'm like, "Okay, let's go to bed." But when he's not here, for some reason, I get very distracted and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to work in the yard. I'm going to do this." And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, it's 10 o'clock and I'm still got a ton of stuff to do." So now I am more focused on I need to be in bed by 10 because I need sleep. It's very important. And then one of your things on there was stop scrolling at 7:30. And honestly, now that I have that 7:30 cutoff, I've gone 3 or 4 days without any social media. And it's just so good for my brain.
I get it. I get
Yeah.
that. I need that habit in my life. I don't
It
have
just
that one yet, and I need that one.
Yeah, it just limiting it, and I think that's my thing is I needed a break so that I can limit it and what it does to my brain. So at 7:30, I'm done with that, and I have an app on my phone called Pause app, and it's a prayer app, and so I do that before I go to bed, and I have a little Jesus Listens by Sarah Young that my grandma gave me. I read that before I go to bed, and I've just been sleeping so peacefully at night because I've started that habit of taking care of myself before going to bed and just releasing everything from the day and releasing my kids and then just sleeping great. So that's one of my habits. 30 minutes of exercise. What was the other one? Oh, planning meals. That
Yeah.
was a really good one for me because my family's very basic. So it's pretty easy for me to plan for them. But I like doing some of Krista's meal preps because when Jeff's out of town, it's easy for me to have something in the fridge that I can just grab and eat. And so having that meal planning and then knowing what groceries I need. And so a couple of my ladies, I've even told them one of your photos that you submit, I would like to see your written out plan for your week.
Oh, that's great.
Just so I can see how you are planning your week. And so the meal planning, that one's real good too. I love that one.
I love that accountability too. I feel like this has been good for my soul. You talk about the habit program being good for your soul. This interview has been good for my soul. So we do a few segments on here and would love to hear what's cooking this week. What's a meal that you made for yourself or family recently that you've loved?
It's grilling season again, and I love Krista's hot honey chicken. So
Mhm.
we do that one. My family loves chicken thighs, so I buy a lot of that at Costco. And so we usually do chicken thighs once a week. And the hot honey chicken's great. And then I usually do sweet potatoes. I also love Krista's sweet potato bowl, and it's sweet potato with taco seasoning on it. It's fantastic. And that's one of my good meal preps that I like. And then my family loves Krista's Italian sub. We do that one quite a bit with fruit or vegetables. And that one always reminds me of Tracy because when we went and visited her family, we had that and it was so good with watermelon. And every time I make it, I think of our time in Florida.
That's so sweet. You need to come back and visit me
I
because now
know.
we have
Soon.
more rooms for your family. I make that for every visitor that comes.
It's
Like,
easy
it's
and
back in the
good.
sandwich day. Yeah, and they're great for if we're going on the boat or if we're going to
Yes.
the beach, you can pack them in foil. So that's awesome. Okay, I love it. You gave us quite a bit. I'll just share this. Tonight on the menu is Chad's Easy Tortellini, and I feel like you've said
Oh,
that one.
yes. That's one of our favorites. My
It is
family loves
literally
it.
4 ingredients, right? It's
Yeah.
tortellini, ground turkey, sauce, and cream cheese, and that's my kind of recipe because all the kids love it. It's so fast and easy. I can make it without having to think 3 hours in advance what I have to do, so
Yeah, we always have those ingredients in the house. I just keep
yes.
those. I buy them almost every week. If my husband likes it, it should be on the list.
Yes. So shout out to Chad for creating
Yeah,
Chad's Easy Tortellini. It is like, "Oh, a man made this recipe and it's great."
it's great.
Oh, okay, so what about your hot mess moment, Leanne? Each
Oh,
week, we're sharing a hot mess from our life. What do you got?
oh, I got a good one. It's so embarrassing. So Madison had a camp in North Carolina last weekend at UNC, go Tar Heels, and it was so fun. My bladder is really bad. It's getting worse. I have peed a lot in CrossFit, but now it's like If I see a bathroom, I just have to go. Well, I was going to pick Maddie up when we are going to eat dinner with my family. So I'd gotten all dressed up and I had on a skirt and platform type shoes. I couldn't find a parking spot near her gym. By the time I got to her, I was sweating like crazy. I was so bummed because I was supposed to look nice. We're walking back to the car and I tilted my foot in the platform shoe and I peed all down my legs. I can't stop this. And Maddie's like, I'm on a college campus. Mom, this is so embarrassing. I was like, well, the good thing is it didn't get on my skirt because I have to wear this tonight and I have extra underwear. She's like, Mom, I can see it. I was like, I'm sorry. What are we going to do? We just got to keep walking.
And spoken like a nurse. This is just bodily fluids we all have.
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I have a funny, I don't know if this is hot mess, but it's kind of hot mess. So I went to lunch with a few girlfriends and I was asking one girlfriend specifically how her daughter has been. And she mentioned, oh, her tick seems to be decreasing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but some kids just do some weird tick thing where they blink weird or they stretch their mouth or something. And I was like, really? And I was listening to her and I said, I think Ollie has a tick. He blinks weird. He kind of rolls his eyes back into the right corner and it almost looks like he's blinking like the Men in Black the weird alien blink. We recently watched that with our kids. Anyway, but it's just a weird thing. And he's done it. And I have asked him about it. Ollie, why do you do that? And he's like, I don't know. He doesn't really have a response. And I'm having this conversation because I didn't realize, oh, this is a tick that he's got. He's just doing this weird thing. Anyway, so then my other friend who's sitting there, she said, well, one of my girlfriends, her daughter has a tick, and she asked her pediatrician a bunch of questions about it. And the pediatrician told her that there's a very high correlation between intelligent, gifted children and these ticks. And I was just like, huh, I don't know. I don't know if that's really what's going on here, but I was intrigued. And I'm telling Chris the story of this lunch and we're all talking about it. And Ollie, his ears perk up and he's like, I'm gifted. As if the whole world had opened up to him and now he understands who he is. And he begged me, Lan, please message my teacher and see if she can give me the gift to test because I'm gifted. And I was like, buddy, I don't know if that works that way. My kid blinks weird. Can you test him?
Right.
He was so persistent. And I thought, why not? Let him take the test. I did not tell the teacher it's because he blinks weird. I just said, we're going to just let him take the test. But the really funny thing is the other kids in the family have started to try and create a tick of their own because they would also like to be extremely intelligent and special.
Like, you are special.
I know. Anyway, we're always a hot mess over here. And I just have been dying to see the results of this because it'll just be hysterical. He's definitely different. He's a sweet boy, but he's different. So that's our funny hot mess moment. Okay. What about your tiny joy? One simple thing that made you smile. It could be something super small or something big, anything.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm turning into my grandma. She loves birds and flowers. And we haven't enjoyed a spring, like a real spring, since we moved to Vegas. Ohio has just been beautiful. And our yard was not our yard before, but the people who lived in it before took really good care of it. So there's so many surprises popping up in our yard. I'm like, oh, look at that. Me and Maddie, we travel a lot for her gymnastics and we're coming back and everything had turned green. All the trees had bloomed. And we were driving in our neighborhood and I was like, oh, look at that beautiful tulip tree. Oh, I would just love to have a tulip tree. And we drive to our house and sure enough, we have a tulip tree in our backyard. I had no idea. Full of surprises. And so it just reminds me of growing up. There's so many smells, just the smell of honeysuckle and jasmine. And so my family's like, you're a grandma.
No, I think it's sweet. I think the first year of moving to a new place is so exciting because you don't know what's around the next corner. You're like, what is this season going to bring?
Yeah.
That's
It's been magical.
My tiny joy, I got this Instagram message from a friend. And just full disclosure, Being on social media is just hard. I think it's hard for the everyday person. It's very hard for me. A big part of our job is to be on social media a lot. And I go through so many phases of burnout, feeling very inadequate, which I feel like these are all normal things that everybody is dealing with. Trying to create healthy boundaries has always been something that I've struggled with. Anyway, so anytime I get a message that makes me feel like, okay, my purpose on here is valuable in some other way than likes and popularity, this is something that truly matters. And so I got this message and it said, I was thinking about you today when I saw one of your stories last week about why you focus so much on cooking for your kids, even though you hate it. I've let myself get so off track with feeding our kids good, healthy meals while my husband was deployed, but your stories reminded me to get my stuff back together. I know you sometimes take a lot of hate about how you talk to your kids about nutrition, but you always have and always will inspire me to aim to feed my family well and let them be well informed about nutrition. And that was so sweet. And it's just stuck with me. So,
Yeah, I love that.
last segment is the last time. So every episode, Kristen, I'd like to share the last time we did something. And today, Leanne, share the last time you went out to eat and what was your experience?
Last Saturday when I peed my pants. While we were in Chapel Hill, we drove into Greensboro and had dinner with my family at a really great restaurant. It's called Southern Roots. It's in Jamestown, North Carolina. And oh, it's amazing. It's so good. I even wore my skirt. It was fine. Nobody knew anything. Although I told the story at dinner, everybody loved it. But I chose a steak and I feel like I had pretty good sides. Usually I do vegetables and a potato or sweet potato, but it was nice. We took my grandparents out. My grandparents are 91 and almost 93, and they still work in their yard every single day. And my grandpa mows every day. I'm
Wow.
not sure why he mows every day, but I think it's just his way of getting out and getting exercise. And my grandma's yard is just full of flowers. It's beautiful.
Oh.
And so it's just really nice to take them out. And my grandma was like, that was the best time I've had in a really long time. She is my inspiration. Just having time
Oh.
with them and my whole family, it was a huge blessing. And that's one of the great things about being in Ohio. We're just 6 hours away.
So much closer.
Yeah.
My last time was we went to a birthday dinner for a close girlfriend of mine. She turned 41 and she has celiac. And so, because of that, she has very limited places that she can eat. But there's this one restaurant called Lulu's in Destin, Florida. It's very touristy, off the bay. You can boat there, you can hang out on their beachy area while you eat, but it's such a touristy southern fried food destination with fried okra, fried green tomatoes. But I was like, I can have this fried okra appetizer sharing amongst girlfriends, but I just felt better about making that choice when I also ordered a chicken salad. I feel like grilled chicken or grilled shrimp with a salad is always a great option if you're going out to eat. And then you can have the dinner roll or the fried okra or the appetizer that makes you feel like you're still enjoying life with the people around you.
Yeah, I
One
like
thing that
that. One fun thing that you can
Yes,
have, but don't feel guilty about the whole meal.
exactly. Well, this has been so fun. It makes
It
me want
has.
to just let's do this every week, Leanne. Every week.
I
Come
love
on.
this.
Give us all more tips and feedback. But any final things you want to leave us with?
I would just say to the moms who are in the same stage of life as me, it's important to value your emotions. My husband's like, why are you sad about that? I don't understand. It's okay to be sad. And one thing I learned when I was going through a really hard time was the difference between buffaloes and cows. Buffaloes will see a storm and they go into the storm because they know if they go towards it, it's going to pass faster. But cows run from the storm. So they end up being in the storm for way longer. And I think one thing I've learned is it's important that if you are having those hard emotions about anything, like even though I was excited about our move, it was still full of grief and emotions, but we had to go through it. You just have to keep moving forward and allow yourself to have those feelings, but don't let them drive the bus. Don't let the emotions drive the bus, but allow yourself to feel them. I always say to myself lately, I know this sounds weird, but soul what do you need? What's going to make you feel better right now? If you're feeling sad, is it going to be sitting in the backyard and reading for a little bit, or going for a walk, or calling a friend? What'll make you feel better? And one tip that Tracy had given me was sometimes when you want those sweet things, it's because you need that serotonin boost in your brain. And calling a friend or going for a walk or loving on your dogs, those will give you that boost that you think food is going to help. But really, you just need to face your emotions and ask yourself, what do I need to feel better in this? And that's where I am, just trying to take care of my grieving mom soul.
I love all of this, every word. I think we could talk for a whole nother hour, but thank you so much, Leanne. I know you are so busy with all the things, but I know that this is going to be impactful for all the moms out there that are like me, just trying to soak up every bit of advice. Love you, friend.
I love you too. Bye.
We appreciate you tuning in to the Stay Fit Mom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Connect with us on social media and head to stayfitmom.com for more resources and tips. You've got this. See you next time.